All right, we're here at my outdoor worm bin, and today we are going to check on that 100th feeding treat that we gave them. I'm also going to show you how I do my seed starting mix, and then we're going to give them a big feeding with lots of bedding to keep the cycle going, and then I'll do a time lapse at the end. But right in here, we put in some shrimp shells for their 100th feeding. It's been about 3 years since we started this bin, and I absolutely love this bin because I can come in here at any time and take out castings. In fact, we did that right before we were in here, and you can see some of the castings all around here, but the worms are definitely in here in the center, and that's because when we were in here last, in addition to those shrimp shells that we fed them, we gave them a whole banana and some banana peels, along with some strawberries, lettuce, and more cranberries, and finally we sprayed in some wriggle brew and some amendments. Now let's keep digging in, and I am seeing something right here. I don't know if it's the shrimp shells or some of the food, but it definitely feels gooey in there. And it's been 22 days since we were in here. And oh yeah, that's right. We did our cranberry update last time where we did mashed and then we did whole cranberries, and I see some right there. And this, which I thought was going to be a shrimp shell, is not. That looks like some leaves, or oh, that's onion peel right there. So that is not the shrimp shells. I think they actually ate them, but check out those worms. Oh, here we go. They are in that avocado that we fed a couple of times ago. And let's see if we've got a little worm ball. And sure enough, there's the worm ball. That is awesome. Wow. Even brought in some cranberries for the party. Pretty cool. Check it out. Lots of great worms in here. And this is a red wiggler bin. And I see right next to my thumb here is a little bit of a pot worm that is sitting on top of a red wiggler. I don't know if you can see it. It actually turned around. But yeah, right there between my two thumbs is a little white worm. Now, if you're wondering if you have pot worms or baby red wigglers, I've got a video you can check out, and it'll show you right from the time they hatch, little baby red wigglers are pink. And this is great. Check it out. Lots of worms right here in the center. They are definitely liking the food that we put in there, but we have a serious cranberry problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pop a bunch of these cranberries real quick. Oh my gosh, that is so many. I'm just gonna do the rest at another feeding, but the worms are doing a great job in this feeding zone here. So next I'm just gonna kind of pull from the outside and go in and try and mix up the food that's in there with what's on the outside. And when I do harvest, I like to grab around the outside and kind of take the castings that are from there. And it's great because I've used my VermiHut trays, and they do a great job of kind of taking the bigger stuff like the shredded pieces of cardboard here and separating it and the worms from the castings that just fall down below. So let me keep mixing up here, and then we'll come back and talk about what I saw.
Those cranberries are distracting.
They are a distraction. So one of the things that I'm noticing right away is that the worms are pretty far deep down, and that makes sense because we've been having colder weather. It is the winter time right here in Florida, which means we're in the 50s and 60s, and at night we actually got down to I think 37, which is like way Florida freezing for us. So on the edges, it just seems like there's less densely populated, but down below, it is crazy full of nice, moist castings and worms. And up top, it's also less densely populated. I'm just seeing more shredded cardboard on top and on the sides. So one of the things that I absolutely love about this bin, like I was saying before, is I can come in here and take out castings anytime I want. And I know we're all starting to think about our spring gardens. We're in the middle of January, and one of the most important things is getting your seed started. So let me show you how I make seed starting mix with my worm castings. Now, to make seed starting mix with your vermicompost, you don't want to use 100% of your vermicompost. What you really want to do is use no more than about 20%. So I'm going to make two formulas. One, I'm going to do the easiest kind of cheating way to do it, and that's to use 4 parts of just your regular potting soil with 1 part vermicompost. So let's set that up real quick. So it doesn't matter what the part is, and I'm just going to use this pot right here, and we're going to use 4 parts of the regular soil right here. And actually, I make this soil myself, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we'll do 1 of the vermicompost. And you might recognize this as my cocoon nursery from my VermiHut. So we'll just mix that together. So now we've got about 20% of this right here is straight vermicompost or worm castings, and the rest is that soil that I just put in here. So next we're just going to put it in our seed starter, and These aren't my favorite, but I'm gardening what I've got, and I've had these for a few years. So I'm just gonna put the soil that I made right into here, and we've got a perfect seed starting mix. All right, so right there, I've got that. I just kind of use a trowel, just like that. And now I'm ready to go. I can put my individual seeds right on top, and then I take some more of my seed starting mix and just right on top like that. And there you go. All you gotta do is mist it in, and bam, seed starting mix from your vermicompost, just like that. So now let's try another way. This time we're gonna use a couple other ingredients. We're gonna use peat moss, and we're going to use some perlite. Now this is kind of what you have to use when you're starting from scratch. So this time we're going to go 3 parts of the peat moss, and we're going to go 1 part of the perlite, and then 1 part of the vermicompost. And that will still only give us about 20% of vermicompost. You want to make sure that you don't go over that much, because vermicompost really absorbs water, and that's something that you want for your seed starting mix. But too much retention of water, and what's going to happen is that the roots will get waterlogged, that kind of thing. Now I'm using peat moss, which has basically no nutritional value, and the seedlings are going to get most of their nutrients from the seed itself. But with the vermicompost in there, you've got all those great microbes and fungi that are going to start to help the brand new roots form those networks that's going to make it be able to absorb nutrients super well when it's in your garden. So let's see if I can do this a little bit more gracefully, and I'll just kind of pour it in like this and not worry about getting my tarp dirty, because that's what it's there for anyway. And you see the peat moss is extremely dry. You can even wet it before you make your seed starting mix, because what I do after this is I mist it and just continue to mist it till it is totally damp. And it's going to take a while because the peat moss is kind of hydrophobic and repels water at first until it absorbs it. Again, just kind of scrape it off just like that with the little trowel. And now I am ready for my seeds. And again, boom, 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 seeds in, and then you just take some of it and put it on top and then water it in again. And then this particular one came with this tray right here where you can put water in it, and then the water will be absorbed up through the holes in the bottom of these. And there you go. We are ready for seed starting season with our vermicompost. I am really getting excited about my spring garden, and we've already started some seeds. We've got some lettuces going and some carrots. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just going to make a big hole in the center here, and we've got a pretty sizable feeding for them, especially since they ate all their shrimp shells. So I'll put in all the leftovers, and I'm going to rip up this avocado. The skin of the avocado shell really takes forever. I mean, this part right here will still be in here probably 6 months from now in the summer. In fact, as I was going around, you probably saw some pieces, and this is right here is a mango seed. Same kind of thing. They just kind of take forever. So first thing I like to do is go in with a little bit of dry bedding, and then I'm going to put all the food in here and water it in. So don't worry about this being dry. And next I'm going to put in a couple of pieces of bread. And again, I'm putting them on the bottom because I want everything to kind of leak through them, because if you just put bread in a bin, it can get hard as a rock. This should help it to stay moist. So I've got kind of a family feeding. These are some food scraps that my son and his wife gave us. So it looks like a bunch of banana peels and some Brussels sprout leaves and some, looks like green onions there. So that's good. Oh, we got a whole banana. I always like to open them up and kind of let some of the banana out so the worms can get in there. And then my mom's great. She fills these Ziploc bags up with the different food scraps and labels them so I know exactly what they are. And this is some carrots. And then we've got some celery. So in that goes right there. Here's some cabbage. Oh man, that's gonna stink. In fact, it already does. And then finally, we've got some broccoli and cauliflower. And this is already getting to be a really big feeding. Now we've got some slow food like this banana peel. We've got some faster food like the celery. And if this, yep, this cabbage was frozen, so it should go pretty quick. And what else in here will go pretty quick? I think the cauliflower will. All of it is frozen and thawed and really mushy, so it should be okay for our feeding. But we're also going in with one of the really fast foods, and this is just lettuce. Looks like a whole lettuce stalk, and here's another smaller one. And then finally we're going to add some color with these frozen tomatoes. All of this has been frozen and thawed, and this is a lot of food, and it will probably heat up, especially because I'm going to put some amendments and then some shredded cardboard on top. But because it's winter and we've got a little bit more cold weather in the forecast, I'm not too worried about it. I'll just wipe off my hands with a paper towel here, and and I can just put that right into the bin as well. So let's just start off with some worm chow that I make in my Magic Bullet blender. It's just some expired grains from my pantry, and if you're looking for any worm equipment or even a blender or the shredder that I make all this shredded cardboard with, go ahead and check out both the description and the pinned comment, and that's where I put all my Amazon affiliate links if you want to check out prices, see what I use. Next, we'll go ahead and put in some coffee grounds, and I'll just put a little bit in there because I don't really want to heat things up to an absolute furnace. And the coffee grounds are a good food source for them, but this is eggshell grit, and what it does is it goes in their gizzards and it helps to make the food smaller, kind of like birds. And I find that they really like to go after it, and anything that's left over is going to end up in my garden anyway. So we've got a little juice here from the thawing out of the veggies, and I'll just pour that on top just like that. And then finally we'll put a little bit of shredded cardboard on top. And now what we're going to do is we're going to attempt to pull over some of the bedding that's already been in there on top of the food. It's always important to cover your food up, hide any smells, that kind of thing, especially for an outdoor bin like this. I'm in Florida and we keep this outdoor the whole time, and we used to put it in the garage if there was a freeze or frost, but Anne, I think she's up in Wisconsin, has a couple outdoor worm bins, and she's got one in a greenhouse, and even the greenhouse kind of froze over, and within her bin she said there was ice, that kind of thing, but when she dug down and found the worms, they were still alive deep down in there. So these red wigglers can really take a freeze if you're in a big enough bin and you know it's not for a long time. So there we go, we've set this up. Now I think we're ready for our time lapse.
Really just want to squeeze some of those cranberries.
All right, so here we go. In here is the worms that we took out when we sifted castings. 1, 2, 3.
Technically, right now you're only zoomed in on the worms, so I could squeeze some.
Don't squeeze the cranberries. I know they're so round and like...
I just want to.
All right, I think most of the worm butts are out of sight, but we'll cover them up a little bit more. And the executive producer has been dying to burst one of these cranberries, so let's let her do that real quick. So this is exciting as you expected?
Yes.
The executive producer is my wife, Autumn, and she's behind the camera doing all the important work while I'm out here having fun. So that's good. She gets to go on the other side of the camera every once in a while. So it's been 22 days since we fed this bin. And if you want to know how often you should feed your worm bin, check out this video that I have right here. So I hope you're having a great day. I hope your worm bins are doing well. So happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now.